Paul Slackus. This is a good opportunity for everybody, and by far from myself here, Dr. Tommy O'Brien. Dr. Tommyo, hi, how are you?
How are you?
I'm good. We met last night. We had a great conversation because behind Tommy, you could probably go up another 40 feet and he'll have awards on his wall because this is a good guy going way back to Good Samaritan outreach, in addition to being a doctor. 9/11, he was there, and he helps his town out there in Patchogue, helps those in need, even having problems sometimes financially. This is a one good guy. And congratulations. Tell us a little bit about your practice, and we also want to talk about some medical marijuana, talk about your books, and this is exciting for me. Thank you.
Sure. Well, thank you for inviting me on your show. It's an honor. I know your background and some of the shows you work on. As a child, I watched. The PBS was a big part of my life as a child. I mean, that really, that was part of education. Mr. Rogers and Captain Kangaroo, and there was another show with the two women that had the swing set they were on, and that was all out of Pittsburgh. I don't remember the name of that show, but it's
was it Laverne and Shirley?
But who I am and where I'm from. Well, my name's Dr. Thomas O'Brien, but I'm passionately known as Dr. Tommyo because I do that intentionally because I want to make sure my patients feel that I'm accessible. I know I'm a doctor, so I don't have to have the white coat on and have that formal name and that structure. I'm very semi-formal, and my patients feel a lot more comfortable that way because I treat my patients as family. So my background is I grew up on Long Island, specifically Freeport, which was a diversified community. My dream was to be a professional baseball player, but I'm only 5'5", and I'm competing against guys that were 6 foot plus. And I was even scouted by the Padres and the Dodgers in the early 80s. But it is what it is. I'm short, and I'm not growing any taller than my father. So then I realized that my other dream would be to become a physician. And so I worked hard, I studied, and I put all my focus and emphasis on academia. And then my approach was that every exam was like a game that I was going to pitch and perform, and I wanted to win. And so I recently was going to school to be a chiropractor. I was at Nassau Community College pre-chiropractic program. And then I discovered osteopathy and or what we call an osteopathic physician. And I felt that was better suited my needs. It fit my personality and my approach to healthcare. It gave me the benefit of being able to prescribe meds as well as do minor surgery and manipulate because I wanted to manipulate. Because I was very familiar as being an athlete. What do you see? Orthopedic surgeons, chiropractors, and physical therapists. So I was very familiar with the hands-on natural approach. So I graduated from Nassau, and then I transferred to New York Tech. I finished up my 4-year degree in 1 year, which didn't leave me time to study for my AMCATs. I stayed at New York Tech and I got my master's and achieved my master's in clinical nutrition. And then it gave me time to prepare for my MCATs. I studied, I took the exam, did pretty decent. And then with my GPA, all my extracurricular activities, I applied to medical school out in Iowa, which was at that time known as the Harvard of the osteopathic schools. And I was accepted and I started medical school. And while out there, I was introduced to family medicine. Here in New York and a major city like New York, Miami, and Chicago, and California, LA, and San Francisco, those cities where you're kind of like conditioned to specialize. So my mindset going out there was to specialize in some sort of discipline in medicine. So now I'm introduced to primary care, and I realized, wow, I can really make a difference. I can go back to New York and I can take care of the entire family. And I did that. And I returned to New York and I did my residency at St. Barnabas up in the Bronx. I lived in the Bronx. My family from it, I lived in the Bronx. And so I became part of the Bronx community. And I practiced after graduation. I practiced 16 years in the Bronx community. Most physicians only stay there 1 to 3 years. I was there 16 years. I've seen everything, you name it. The Bronx is the unhealthiest community in all of New York City. When I talk about all 5 boroughs, and one of the unhealthiest communities in New York, in America in general. So I really was exposed to a lot. As a family practitioner, I can treat a lot of conditions without referring to a specialist. So my next dream was I bought an apartment in Manhattan, and my next dream was to buy an office and have a practice in Manhattan, because that's the cream of the crop. If you're practicing on Park Avenue in New York City, you made it. You're at the top of the game. So I was able to achieve my dream, and I bought an office on East 6th between Park and Lexington. So I was there, and with the big dogs. And so I practiced there for 8 years. And then a colleague of mine, I was in my second decade of practicing primary care. And, I felt that I wasn't being challenged anymore. When you do something for that long, my personality is I constantly need to be challenged. I just wasn't challenged anymore. Hypertension, diabetes, asthma. I could do that with my eyes closed. It just wasn't challenged. So, I was like, okay, this is going to be the end of my career. So then a colleague of mine introduced me to medical cannabis. And he said, New York State's going medical marijuana. I'm like, medical marijuana? I said, I don't know. He said, I'm skeptical. And so he goes, no. He goes, you should really read up on it. So I did a lot of research, and then I realized that California was medical marijuana since the mid 90s. And I was like, well, how come we don't know about this in America? On the other side, on the East Coast. And so I did a lot of research, and I also did research in Tel Aviv. A lot of material comes out. The godfather of medical cannabis is from Tel Aviv. And so I said, wow, you know what? I can make a difference again. This kind of like recharged my batteries. And I said, if I can add this to my practice and really make a difference. So I was one of the first, not the first, but one of the first to get certified in New York State. And then I was the first to open up a practice in New York City. So January 2015, we went live. Because I owned the office, it was easy for me to, just add medical cannabis. So I put my name out there. I was on New York State's website. And January, my phone was off the hook. I couldn't keep up with the calls. And, started treating patients. Within 1 or 2 weeks, my patient would call me saying, wow, they feel a lot better. They're not in pain, because my patients aren't drug seekers. They have cancer, chronic pain. They were on narcotics for years. They just didn't want to be on narcotics anymore. Talking Percocet, Percodan, Tylenol number 3, Tylenol number 4, Vicodin extra strength, and even morphine. So these are the drugs they were on, because the physicians kept advancing the pain medicine to keep up with their pain. So I was able to get the majority of my patients off narcotics in a very, very short period of time. And they came back and thanked me. And it's because they have control of their life. When you're taking narcotics, it changes your brain chemistry and the way you think. Just even having a normal conversation with your significant other, your partner, you have a tendency to interpret things different. And then you end up having, nasty, and you snap. Hey, how was your day? Well, what do you mean, how was my day? What are you saying? I didn't do anything today? So the interpretation of a conversation really changes. And when they would bring this in from other end, they'd say, absolutely, that's what our relationship is. And after I would treat them, they'd come back and say, I saved their relationship, because now they're able to, have a conversation again and develop a relationship with their significant other. And so New York State was very strict with the conditions that I was able to treat. We only had 9 conditions. Chronic pain. Well, neuropathy. They didn't have chronic pain right away, but neuropathy, cancer, Parkinson's, Lou Gehrig's, ALS, Huntington's career, spinal cord injuries, and then there was let's see what else we have. Something cancer. That's just the name of few. There's like 1 or 2 other ones that I'm just off the top of my head. I'm just forgetting. Here we go. Irritable bowel disease, and that would be Crohn's and ulcerative colitis. So those were the original conditions. And with each year, they kept expanding it. But I had a very high success rate. It's not perfect. It's not for everyone. And also, besides the medical cannabis that I was prescribing, I also have what we call a concierge primary practice, where you would pay an annual fee, and then you can come in and see me as many times as you want. Primary care, so we didn't have to worry about insurances and co-pays and what insurances will allow you to do, because insurance companies pretty much control, what physicians can and cannot do. I go into medicine to have some bean counter telling me how to care for my patient, because they're worrying about their profit margin, their profit pool. I'm here to care for patients. That's what I did my residency, and I know better than the businessmen, because they're worrying about their bottom line. So I'm here to care for patients. So that's why I went into the concierge, so we didn't have to worry about that. I didn't have to deal with insurance companies, get pre-authorizations. This is what my patient needs. That's what they're going to get, and they get it. So then I practiced in my office with this system for 7 years. However, there was unfortunately changes in New York City with the politicians, and the demographics started to change, and I decided that this wasn't an environment that I wanted to have my family in anymore. So I sold my apartment. I moved back to Long Island, where I grew, not the same town. And then for 1 year, I was traveling back and forth to Manhattan, which was an hour and a half each way. So it was 3 hours of my personal time. I said, I can't do this. I just can't. I was 55 years old, and I just said, I can't do that. It's just too much. And so, I started working in an office here on Long Island, and then I decided to open up my own office in East Patchogue, and that's what I did. And I'm here now, and I'm offering the same services in East Patchogue, and which is a concierge. What I have, it's a little spin on it, where it's a medical membership, so you pay monthly, so you don't have to get hit with that upfront fee. Most concierge practices want they ask $1,700 to $3,000 a year, and they want that fee up front. What I do is I charge only $1,200 a year, and you can pay me $100 each month, so you don't feel that financial burden. You know what I mean? It's spread out over 12 months instead of being upfront, where you go, oh boy, how am I going to deal with this? So I'm helping my patients out financially. So to take that pain, and this is all about pain. I want to make you pain free. There's always pain, but I want to reduce the hit as much as possible. And plus I'm offering, I still offer the medical cannabis, and I had success. My patients, like I said, I certified over almost 1,400 patients now. Even though New York is going recreational, we are not recreational yet, because there's 2 parts to the law. The first part is the legal aspect, meaning that if you have a little weed on you and a police officer sees it, they're not going to arrest you. They're not going to give you a ticket. They're not going to harass you. The second part of this also is if you're in the pipeline to see a judge, they're throwing you for a weed-related charge. They're just throwing it out. And the final aspect of part 1, the legal aspect, is if you had a legal issue in the past, a weed-related charge, that it's being expunged. That aspect of the law, for me personally, I don't really agree with, because that becomes a slippery slope. You're setting up a standard that you can Are we going to apply this to every law then? So where do you begin and where do you end? And people can easily challenge if you're going to go retro and expunge and say, well, I want DWI then. I want other criminal charges expunged from my record. And that's not how life works. So that's where I am right now. And I know you mentioned a few other things, so I'll let you ask me those questions and then I'll answer them. I took up a lot of time there.
No, we got a good rounded understanding of who this man is. And I like your thinking, and you're for the people. And I also give a shout out to our mutual friend Cheryl, who works with you, who's introduced us here, who's for the people as well. And so it's a good thing when like-minded people work together and help others. So let me just ask you a little bit, because I think we can have, and I know you have man has a podcast, right?
Yes.
And where's that podcast?
Well, you can find everything on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Dr. Tommyo.
Okay. He has a book. What's the story on that? Two books.
I have 2 books. I have 2 certified #1 Amazon bestsellers. So my first book is Medical Marijuana Real Life Success Stories. And that was based on my success of treating patients. After 2 years, I said to myself, people need to know about the success of this because there's stigma attached to cannabis, okay? And, the first thing people will think of when they hear about cannabis or marijuana, it's going to be the image that Sean Penn portrayed in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Spicoli, the surfer dude, the stoner, like, hey man, where's my pizza? I'm falling asleep. So that's the first image, but that's not what medical cannabis is about. Because there's a lot of control. There is quality assurance that's built into this program, New York State's program. So what I want to do is educate our community, educate the world actually about the benefits of medical cannabis. So I documented case presentations by patients, and they're protected under HIPAA. You don't know if they're male, female, who they are, and they gave me written permission to write about it. So my book became a certified Amazon #1 Amazon bestseller. So you can find it if you go into Amazon, the search button, you put Dr. Thomas O'Brien or medical marijuana, real life success stories, will come up. And then I wanted to do a follow-up, and it was supposed to be a year later, but because of COVID, that really pushed back, and COVID really took the wind out of the sails, for me and my profession and all other professions. And so I started seeing patients, through Zoom, in my home to make sure they were safe. Unfortunately, I lost probably in the past 2 years about 80% of my patient population because of COVID. So I took a significant financial hit.
Wait a second. 80% of your 80, 0?
80, yes, because of the financials. A lot of patients lost their jobs, and just finances. Do I buy the medical cannabis or put food on my plate and pay my rent and bills? This is reality. So I lost a significant amount over the past 2 years. I don't want to get into numbers. It's a big number of salary, income I lost. I keep leaving that on the table. I took a huge hit. As well as other businesses. I'm not alone, but I'm the small solo guy. For me, it was pretty significant. And then starting the second year, I said, you know what? I need to take control again. I'm not letting this control me. I'm controlling my destiny. And I said, I'm gonna write a part 2, a follow-up. And then I want to introduce a new topic. So I introduced osteopathic manipulation, where we're discussing natural healing and treating people naturally. And being an osteopath, I manipulate every single day. So I incorporated that into my new book, And I introduced that to my readers, and that became a certified #1. And it's called Holistic Living. Oh, excuse me, Holistic Healing. True stories from the leading expert on modern medicine. So that's the name of my second book. Again, if you put my name in a search for Amazon, Amazon.com search, and you'll see it, it'll come up.
All right, this is what we're going to do, Dr. Tommy, because you got a lot to share, okay? And I like to get a little more in depth. But right now, you know, I have to go into surgery on Monday, and I got to take, I got to move some things, together here. At a later moment, I want to interview you again because you have a lot of knowledge of subject matter that I feel is of interest to my community as well as myself. And I even had experienced marijuana for 50 years, and I've experienced osteopath, a way of healing, and the kind of mindset for healing that you speak on. Okay, and I'm a believer in these things. So. And when I'm a believer of things, I want to share those things because not everybody knows those kinds of things. They're used to so many traditional things. So we have an opportunity to get a little much deeper on each one of these subjects, that they're big of unto themselves. So at this moment, your website, which has a ton of stuff, what's your website called?
It's drtommyo.com.
Okay. I want you all just to go there. Dr. Tommyo. You look at his license plate now. All right, so this guy is one cool dude, and I mean, you got a list of things, so many nice things you've done for so many people. It's a big honor to get to talk to you. So we're going to talk again. I'm going to ask you the question I ask a lot of people because we're involved with the International Day of Peace and World Peace Day and so on. What does peace mean to you, Dr. Tommyo?
Well, what peace means to me is treating everyone like family. I treat my patients like family. I treat everyone with respect. Doesn't matter who you are, where you come from. You believe in a family. You believe in certain values and peace. It's just taking care of people. That's what it means to me. I was blessed. I have my parents, my sister. We're very close, and we grew up caring for the community. That, to me, that's what peace is.
I love it. Okay, Dr. Tommyo, thank you very much, and we appreciate the conversation, and we're going to have another one shortly.
Great. Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, take care. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, thank you. God bless. Bye.